University, where we take adult shit and cut it into kid-sized pieces. My name is Miss A, and today we'll be talking about how to maintain a healthy, loving, long-distance relationship. Now, it's said that distance makes the heart grow fonder, and for some people, that might be true. But, in all honesty, it just sucks. So, in this classroom discussion, I hope to give you some tips so that you can sustain the love in your long-distance relationship. With that being said, let's get started, shall we? Let's start by talking about the mindset one should have if they're going to engage in a long-distance relationship. Surely by now, as an adult human being, you've come to realize that all relationships take work. Some more than others, but they all take work, especially romantic ones, if they're worthwhile. Then factor in distance, and well, then you have to double, if not quadruple, the work, effort, if you will, to sustain and maintain a healthy relationship. I say all that to say this. Your mindset going into a long-distance relationship will really determine the course of that relationship. So make sure you're going into it with a committed mindset to make it the best relationship possible, regardless of distance. Now that we've talked about the mindset, let's get down to business by talking about how you're going to maintain a long-distance relationship. Well, first, you'll need to make it a priority. And that seems like a no-brainer. But honestly, if you don't make it a priority and remind yourself that it's a priority, you're going to widen the gap in the distance that your partner, your significant other, feels when it comes to the closeness that it takes to maintain a healthy, secured bond. So that means that your communication is key, and it should be respectful to the schedule and obligations of each other. In other words, if your partner works an 8 to 5 schedule, can only talk to you on their lunch break, you're going to have to understand. In fact, a lot of understanding is going to have to come into play. Communication is the foundation, amongst other things, to every romantic relationship. But in long-distance relationships, it's going to be the most important factor because everything else hinges on that. Since you don't have physical touch or visuals, so you definitely want to make sure that your communication is constant and creative. And also, you want to probably outright create some expectations that will help avoid misunderstandings. Also, another thing to consider when it comes to communication is that even when you might stay in contact with one another by texting throughout the day or having small phone conversations, it's important to actually schedule out time where you can both talk to one another without distractions, because texting while you're sitting with your friends and they're gabbing and eating, and trying to continue a conversation with your significant other is different than actually sitting in a room with no distractions and engaging one-on-one with them. My next tip is that you should try not to go long periods of time without seeing one another. Because there's something to be said about being in physical presence of your significant other as opposed to being on the phone or texting. We know this, right? So make sure that you are definitely scheduling physical time together. And that will probably require some planning. And you should try to see where you can cut costs, maybe even split costs of the person who's flying in and out, so that in-person time can be achieved, basically. And also consider trying to find an airlines that gives you points and allows you to allocate points for travel to someone else, if that's possible. or buy the ticket and use your points towards that ticket for your significant other. Just be creative in trying to find ways to stay in physical contact and not just verbal contact with one another. Now that we talked about communication and travel, let's talk about romance. Whether near or far, romance is important. Romance does not hinge on celebrations and holidays to be shown, and is a 24/7 thing. And just because your significant other is not in your day-to-day presence doesn't excuse you from showing them how much they mean to you on the daily, if not weekly. And what I mean by this is you should do not only big things, sending flowers to work is nice, but small things, unexpected things like writing an old-fashioned love letter and sending it snail mail makes a huge difference in reinforcing how much they mean to you and bringing you together. So make sure that your presence is being felt even if you can't be present. My last tip to you is very important because it can make or break any romantic relationship, regardless of distance. And that is, you should always talk through all your issues and not allow anything to fester, because you don't want resentment or other behaviors to take predominance in your relationship and create any more space than the physical one that's between you and your significant other. So make sure you're both talking things through until everyone comes to a happy, clear understanding of one another. Well, that's it for today. Just a few tips on how you can maintain a healthy long-distance relationship. Thank you for attending class. Go ahead and do your homework by subscribing to this channel and thumbs up in this video. My name is Miss A, and until next time, remember, you must be this tall to pay bills.